in the hedgerows surrounding the Crane Hotel. After all, is based in Drovers Park, which unsurprisingly does actually contain a park next to the Black Lake, which is far from the polluted cesspool of some cities, but it's also called the Black Lake for a reason. Regardless, in the moonlight, where you can't see so much of it, then it's actually rather picturesque, and you can see a fair amount of that from where you're currently perched. When you exit Sabina, then you can see the man himself leaning back in the same very kind of light off-white cream suit that he was wearing at Elysium earlier. He's looking out at the lake and the river which flows out into the Atlantic, and he's adopted a very thoughtful looking pose, which for show, I mean, he's people that know him a little better than just the superficial part of him, the face, know that he's something of an academic. He's something introspective. But then again, maybe that's just another ploy. Regardless, it's a convincing one, and he's looking out onto the moonlit water.
Sabina will just take a seat next to him, but she won't break the silence. She'll just enjoy the moment for a second or two.
It's always awkward, isn't it, when someone else is mourning.
Mm-hmm. What was he like?
To be truthful, I never really felt like I knew him. I know it's a silly thing to say for someone that you're, I think it was that distance which actually kept us. When you meet someone and there's so much you don't know about them, and that's what compels you. Not because you want to find out more, because somehow the truth is worse. I never controlled him, if you know what I mean. I never had him. He was never mine. He was always Andrej. Or not, apparently. You, on the other hand, well, look at you. Was it planned exactly, or was this a spur of the moment decision?
Exceptional circumstances as I sit on stage.
Hmm. Do you have a heart condition or something I don't know about?
I mean, it's not beating.
Well, congratulations. It's not everyone that gets to join our ranks. It's a willful decision to be given the blood. You must have, you must have called to Anya somehow, impressed her. She must be curious about you. She's probably wondering where you are right now.
Then let's all wonder. I'm sure she can do without her eyes on me for a moment or three.
I think you learn to appreciate after a while just what kind of pulls you in to our society. It's not what's true. It's what you don't know. That's why they go to Elysium. It's to be not to validate themselves anymore with the truth, but to nihilistically indulge in something that they can't possibly understand. Watch moves and pretend that they understand them when really they're just baiting themselves with their own curiosity.
Putting their forehead against a smoke screen.
And inhaling the smoke and enjoying the euphoria. I think that's what Anya might be doing even now. fantasizing about where her child could be, indulging in the drama. That's the way of the clan, I'm afraid. So, what happens next for you?
I look forward to being taught under Anya, and I'm hoping many members of our clan. I look forward to continuing my artistic endeavors, helping where I can, strengthening various borders that we're making,
Mm.
and sharing, indulging,
Mm.
helping others grow and sewing, and having fun along the way. And you?
Me? Well, I'm going to have to reevaluate everything, I suppose. The Gestapo have taken my child from me. I mean, they were right this time, but at some point they're going to be wrong. If there are more among us who are infiltrating, then we can't let this police force be used as the prince's, you know, hit squad. That's what I'm worried about.
From what I heard, they wanted to do more tests.
More tests isn't going to help. Paranoia is seeping in. People are going to turn on each other, invent excuses. People like Andrej, who were distant, are going to be targeted. You're safe. You're in the shit. You're in the middle of it all.
Wouldn't that give more reason for somebody to put a target? If you said if people are going to do this to try and get others or build up paranoia.
They're going to work their way from the outside in. Pariahs, hermits, outcasts, exiles, the socially awkward, the outspoken. They're the ones that go first. They can't target people that are connected. It sends too many ripples. If Andrej were a harpy, for example, or a prominent landowner or a baron or something like that, even if he was a Strix, killing him would still make a lot of enemies. But he kept to himself, handled himself. I did wonder actually when you when you paraded out and introduced yourself to Her Majesty, born again, so to speak. Did did Zayden know that you were going to? Did you know about your circumstances?
I No, I haven't had the chance to speak to him in a while, but
Hmm.
I
I
should get
understand
to that.
he was a ghoul of Bob as well. I've seen him crop up a few times.
And Mason,
Hmm. How do you think they're going to? I mean, how would he react?
I I don't know, but I'm sure that we'll still be friends.
Huh. Depends how you explain it. I mean, I suppose the news should come from you, if anyone.
I intended to do so. I don't think he's the type who'd hold it against me.
Well, I suppose that depends. If you're still willing to help him now that you're his superior.
I guess I don't see myself quite like that, but
Everyone else will.
yeah. Well, not necessarily. I know some kindred who see a lot of goals more important than a fledgling.
Ah, you mean the Carthians? Oh, well, yeah, I mean, right on, of course.
Not
Yes, I.
necessarily the Carpins. This people's been around a long time.
Well, living or dead, we all have a part to play,
Hmm.
I think. And it is quite easy to get ahead of oneself when you've got the power that's even now crackling in underneath your skin. It's strange speaking to you now, still so fresh. Can you feel the pressure? And as he says that, then his eyes widen and you feel an intensity building up in him for a minute. But beforehand, it might have just overwhelmed you, but now it feels like something inside you is pushing back.
Uh,
There you go. That's why we're always at each other's throats.
it feels so weird to walk down the corridor and feel it at the back of your spine, let alone something more upfront like that.
Think of it as an instinct. That's what the beast is, really, isn't it? You know, Vlatsky, people like him, the Invictus, they'll tell you that it's something that you have to control and cage and master or hide away or run away from. I don't think of it like that. I think even giving it the idea of sentience is pointless. It's poetic.
Says the one who just used it at will to make a point.
It is me. Would you not listen to your gut? If every sinew in your body screamed at you to run, would you? And if by not listening to it, you feel as though you're somehow smarter than a caveman, well,
I don't know. I have a tendency to surprise myself when it comes to that kind of thing.
hmm. What I mean is ultimately, it's an edge that we have over the living. It's something inside of us that cares more about our self-preservation than anything else. And sometimes it makes sense to listen because we can be awfully self-destructive creatures, just like men. Is that a little bleak for you?
No, it's very raw to hear it so soon, but I guess it's needed to trust instincts.
I am your Priscus. It's my job to tell you the truth.
Thank you.
Hmm. On the other hand, you're eternally young. You belong to a society that will protect you after itself, of course. Are you excited about the idea of climbing the ladder?
I not thinking of it as a ladder to climb. I want to help out where I can to help grow, to see things, you know, from so small to reach such heights. And I'd be happy to help that, not just be the one growing. And I do want to enjoy myself along the way. I don't want to just be all court and nothing else. But
Well, you can't be. It won't last forever, you know. This, I mean, you've seen it yourself, haven't you? Well, running around. You've seen death. People fall over themselves. Organizations implode. And now you've just been embraced into one of the most tumultuous covenants in the city. If you are a part of the circle.
no, I haven't joined any, and I don't know enough about the circle to make that decision.
Well, maybe you should inquire a little more. After all, Anya can't afford not to be forthcoming with you after everything she's put you through.
Put me through. You've seen her. It's like she saved me. She's brilliant, and I'm honored to have a tutor like her.
Ensure that you listen. I dabbled with the Dark Mother once, in a very fringe sense. I think
Dark
it's a
Mother?
very, well, she goes under a number of different names, doesn't she? Mother of Monsters, the bitch goddess, if you hear the Archbishop preach. Different domains, different regions, same concept. A creator of destroyers. But that isn't all bad. I'd be quite keen, actually, to hear what Anya thinks, but being the Priscus, I can't be too partisan towards them. After all, there are David that aren't in the circle. There are David that significantly disrespect the circle. Sam, for example. And I should probably go and console him after his loss of title. Yeah, just another thing to keep track of. But now that they're on the rise again, it's so different to what it was like under Engelbrecht. He was all blood and guts and glory, and Anya just seems a little more, well, sensible, modern, considerate.
I think she is.
Again, I can't go to a ceremony myself without starting all sorts of ruckus. Another time like this, that's not what the clan needs, but I'd like to have your input on how you feel it goes.
If I'm ever there to witness, sure.
Oh, of course, yes, sorry, I'm assuming again. Well, don't
What
let her push you too hard.
what made you want to dabble, and what had you stop?
When you've been around for as long as I have, you have very existential questions about your existence. Eventually, you'll have reached the top of the mountain and fallen off so many times that you wonder if that's all there is to it. Just climbing, falling, getting tripped up, getting betrayed, getting sabotaged. Eventually, you start to see a pattern, and some people would consider that an advantage, but I just find it tedious. We have to break patterns. That's why we live forever. Not so we can stay the same, so we can change. Everything has to change eventually. That's what drew me to thinking that perhaps this goddess could have some sort of an answer that I wasn't capable of providing for myself. I suppose it was a move of desperation, really. It wasn't in Crucible, it was far away, but I didn't find what I was looking for. I don't think that they were wrong, but it wasn't my truth. But then again, maybe I just had the wrong mentor.
Do you think you've come any closer to finding your truth?
Oh, a lot closer since then. Since those nights, gosh, I was a hedonist then. I'd given up trying to find any meaning out of anything. So I just drank and fucked my way through 50 years and came out the other end, blurry and disjointed. I think that's what really hammered home the message. That if any one of us is allowed to stagnate for too long, the rest of them follow suit and they dress it up like it's a good thing. Like what the prince is, this monolith is a good thing. Like what? Well, even me. Suppose I'd fall into that category now, wouldn't I? The old guard. Do you ever think about how much you would have hated yourself now if you went back a few years?
Hated is the wrong word. Think more like in Scream when they go down the wrong one, the obviously death passage, or
Ah,
the wrong turn.
yeah.
I've been shouting at myself a few times, but I don't
Mm,
think hated.
mm,
Comforted in some ways, disappointed, I guess, in others, excited in others too, to see where it leads. But
hmm. Sometimes I wonder if I've become a part of the very thing that I, in a younger time, might have vowed to destroy. But I suppose those are all questions for the future, not the present. The present is Elysium, and I've probably kept you for a suspiciously long time.
suspicious.
Mm. You know how talk spreads.
Don't let them talk.
No. And when it comes to managing my clan, I like to keep things discreet, personable. There aren't that many of us, all things considered. So there's no point making grand proclamations about every single one of us. Deva, more than anything, are individualists. We set trends. And so we'll keep these chats informal, private, but I will be keeping an eye on you.
I'll do my best to keep you entertained.
Please, please do. Please do. Be very curious to find out exactly what it is Anya's doing in Spoke Hill. But we will wait for that. Maybe I'll get the chance to catch up with them when the council convenes next after she's finished. Well, I mean, I imagine she'll be quite busy keeping an eye on you, for example. But do let me know. I'm sure that she is capable, but would you be her first, or has she done this before?
I'm her first.
Goodness, she might make a few mistakes. Forgive her eventually, but if you need anything, that's why I'm here.
Thank you. I'll do my best not to be a handful to her or to you or our clan.
Wonderful. I want to sit here for a bit longer until I can figure out a way to get Jensen to give me Andrzej's ashes back.
You
And
still got them.
he's parading them around like a trophy. But I suppose those are the ashes of the nemesis, not my child. So what does it matter?
Do you want to know how long?
Sorry, what?
Do you want to know, if you could, how long it, you know?
Like I said, sometimes mystery's better. Good evening, Sabina. I really shouldn't keep you anymore.
Thank you again.
You're doing well. Most fledglings fuck up tremendously their first night, and they've had some time to prepare. You're thinking on your feet. It's good.
In that case, if you want to fuck up, I could try and distract Jensen for you while you.
No, heavens, no. There's been enough controversy over everything tonight. I think what we need is a nice, quiet bit of civility for tonight, and we can invite the chaos in later.
Now, if you be. Thank you again, Shaw.
And he looks back over into the reflection.